My name's Glen Myers. I'm here with Julian. I've been watching him on Facebook for the last few years, and I really wanted to get him on the mastermind with us to do an episode because I want to learn more about what your backstory is as well. It's always interesting to learn. So I'll let you go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about the different companies you have, because I know you have a few different ones for the different entrepreneur that you are. You're looking to diversify and go into more directions. So thanks again for coming on.
Well, Glenn, thank you. It's a pleasure. I think the first time that we connected may have been in Clubhouse.
Could
I
be.
can't. Yeah. I think it was during that time Jake Hess and Joe and all these guys were in Clubhouse. Herschel. So it's great to be on the podcast. Thank you for the opportunity to share with the solar community and give back any value that I possibly can. But for those that don't know me, my name is Julian Jackson. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. Today, I reside in Columbus, Ohio, primarily. But as most solar guys, solar pros, we're always traveling. So I live out of a suitcase most of the time. For my background, I come from insurance. I did property and casualty insurance before getting into solar. I also did life insurance, which was brutal, selling final expense insurance. And so at the time wasn't having a whole lot of success and had a newborn baby in 2018. And my aunt and uncle, they live in an area called Dublin, Ohio. And they ended up going solar and they both called me. And it was so weird. I tell the story all the time. It was so weird because they were on the verge of a divorce. And so they couldn't get along on what they were going to have for dinner that night, yet they went into 40K in debt to go solar. And so it caught my attention. And my aunt was like, you should really take a look into this industry because it's about to blow up. And so I took her advice and I ended up getting into the solar industry in 2018. And since then, we've been able to do some really cool things. And so, yeah, man, that's kind of the brief overview of my backstory.
That's awesome. So you said 2014?
18.
18. Okay. So you got in 2018 and it's because one of your family members got solar. And you said it was your mom?
My aunt.
Your aunt. Okay. Your aunt. And so what has been your experience since then? Did you work with a certain company and then you went on your own after a certain point, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so I ended up getting recruited by a company called Power Home. At the time, it's very known around the industry. Power Home was one of the largest installers on this side of the country during that time, and I was able to catch them in the very beginning. And so it was cool because I was able to be a part of that growth. And really learn a whole lot. So I started up as a sales rep, and I didn't last a sales rep very long until I was in a leadership role. I was only in sales rep for a few months, got to the top, and then from there, I wanted to focus on teaching other people what I learned in a very short amount of time, so that they can go out there and make an impact as well. And so I ended up working there until 2022. I left in April and they went out of business in September. So I was responsible for pretty much the entire Midwest. We did during my tenure about $350 million in solar sales. Yeah, tons of megawatts. And so, yeah, it was a fun time.
Wow. And so you did the sales side at that time?
Yeah, sales side.
Okay. And how did you guys get your leads mainly? Were you doing like a lot of door-to-door stuff or?
No, so Power Home was one of the first companies to really figure out SEO, online advertising. And so they had ads on TikTok, ads on Facebook. They were doing all pretty much digital. And then from there, we would get referrals from those that we sold, maybe canvas a neighborhood like during the install, but it wasn't like the traditional door-to-door model. It was more pay-per-click ads.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So what was the process like for you? Were they just sending you in appointments or was it leads that you had to follow up with?
Yeah, so every day you would, during that time, you would get appointments added to your schedule. Your job was to simply go out there and go close them down. And so, generally, every single rep will have about 2 to 3 appointments every single day, and their job was to at least close one, to keep their job. So,
So 30% or so closing ratio they're looking for.
yeah, yeah, 30% was about the average closing ratio.
Okay, awesome. And you said they were able to keep your guys' calendar pretty full. Were they doing like, was it more of Google ads or was it Facebook, or do you know?
It was everything. They had a budget of about $4 million every single month on ad spend.
Wow.
Yeah,
So what happened to them?
they went under. They went under. It was a series of a lot of different things. I saw the writing on the wall back in November of 2021. There was just decisions that were made that just didn't make a lot of sense for uh, the reps. It didn't make a lot of sense for the client. And I think what really happened is they scaled too quickly and weren't able to fully get the operations sound to be able to be sustainable at scale. And so that's essentially what happened.
So their sales were outperforming their operations.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. And it put them in a position where they couldn't really recover.
Yeah, you can't recover because, of course, when you have that type of issue, I'm sure in Florida it's the same issues everywhere else. Getting quality installers that can be competent and getting the job done, it's hard to find that, whenever you're in 30 different markets at scale. So that was a big challenge for them, and they unfortunately weren't able to overcome it. And so whenever there's things that I saw that I didn't agree with, and couldn't really sleep at night because I know that the customer is who loses at the end of the day, I decided to transition.
Okay. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about what that made you transition to. What are you currently doing, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so I started a parent company called Asher Inc. And under that, I have Julian Jackson LLC, which I come into organizations, specifically sales, solar organizations, and teach them and their leadership skills. I teach them sales stuff, overcoming objections, simple sales processes, so that they can have an uptick in their sales and their culture. And then over in June of 2022. Partnered with one of my best friends for a solar called Made to Serve Solar. And so we partnered with a couple of different installers to really be able to support Greater Ohio.
Okay. So this is all going to be focused right now in Ohio then?
All Ohio. Yep, absolutely.
That's a smart idea. Be good where you live.
Man, so I'll tell you, coming into it, you're very ambitious, especially experiencing a company at scale and being a part of that. When you go into solar independently, you think that you can just take over the entire country. And then when you start dealing with national EPCs and you really figure out what that whole model is really about, and the loops and the gaps in that model, it really changes your perspective on what's important and what's going to be sustainable long term. And so if you're watching this and you're trying to decide which way you want to go, build your community first, build your back door first, because that's going to make the greater impact and it's going to be the least amount of headache, I can guarantee it.
Yeah, I've kind of had the same experience as well. I started in 2014 in Boston, Massachusetts. Some people know my story, some people don't, but since then I've been in 11 different states that I personally lived in and sold in each one of those states to door to door in each one. And I can tell you, with working with multiple different dealers, if they're not there and they don't know it, and they don't have like personal relationships with like the engineering companies and like the permit runners and like the people that do the permits and all that stuff, it just becomes more of a headache than it's worth trying to work with these companies that are in so many different states and they have a cookie cutter system and things get hiccups, and just draws out the process longer. So from your experience, have you had any so far from where you were and where you're at now? Are you seeing anything that you could maybe point out that you can do better as a new company, like as far as operational wise or sales wise or anything like that you'd suggest?
I would suggest I'll talk from the perspective of the brand new person that's getting into solar. If I could go back and I would do something differently, number one, do your research. Really, really do your research. Do not chase a red line. I would chase the best quality installer in your market, not the best EPC. I will choose the best installer that has the capabilities of being the EPC as well. And the reason why I say that is because whenever I started, I thought that the best thing to do was to choose all these different installers and sell across all of these different platforms, right? And so what this does is, number one, it's a lot of emails and a lot of passwords, a lot of logins to keep up with. Number two, there's all these different products, right? And so you don't have like a streamline. So if you have reps that you are hiring, it's going to make it very confusing for them to know exactly what to use, what not to use, what adders are available, because you're spread too thin. And then number three, when it comes to the back end, when it comes to fulfillment, it's way too much to keep up with. And so if I could do anything different, I would just do extensive research. I would call these different installers and I would interview them, and I would ask them specific questions about their processes, about their procedures, about what type of financial stability they're in for supply chain, just so that you don't find yourself in a very compromising position. So I would do that first. I will work with a local installer, somebody that's maybe a little bit smaller in the beginning, so that we can partner up and build together, versus just going with somebody national that's doing all these different accounts, because I want my deals and I want my customers to make sure that they have the proper amount of guidance and the proper amount of attention whenever you're dealing with some of these, and I'm not going to name any names. I got respect for everybody. We all have our flaws, but whenever you're dealing with a lot of these big national EPCs, there's negligence that can take place. And so to just save yourself the heartache and the long nights, find somebody local, do your research, and grow together.
Okay, what in your opinion, as far as things should they ask the installers?
Yeah, so I would first make sure they have all their license in the state and the proper certifications to install whatever products that they're offering. I've found way too many times that a lot of these they don't even have the licensing in the state. And so if you get caught up with that, your deals that you have in the pipeline could be gone. I also will ask questions about what their process is for permitting, what their process is for zoning, what their process is and what their turnaround time is for designs, CAD designs. I will ask questions like if they do any subcontracting, or if they do not do any subcontracting. And really just try to get a better understanding of how they communicate with their clients. What do they have in place so that if something happens, who's contacting? How many times are they contacting? If credit is about to expire, what's that look like? All of these things are going to be super helpful whenever you're speaking to an installer before you get in bed with them, because the last thing you want to do is make the mistake that I made, and you put all these deals into the wrong installer's hands, because it sucks. It really does suck, and it could be.
What's your number? we all have that number of if you've been in the industry more than a certain amount of years, a lot of us have that number of like, we lost this much money to this company, we lost this much money to this company, because it adds up quick with solar, because obviously commissions are big.
Yeah, over 7 figures.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
And you've only been in the industry for 5 years, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's crazy. So yeah, that's why it's so important, and it's amazing how many companies get really greedy, even
hmm
though there is enough to go around for everybody. But a lot of times, I mean, sometimes it's not on them. Certain circumstances happen, but there are a lot of situations where it is on them, where they know they did wrong and they're not paying up where they should pay up.
yeah, 1000%.
So, what is a good turnaround times for you as far as like operational wise? Like, how fast should permitting come back? How fast should designs come back? Like, when should they get approval for permits? Like, how much updates do you think people should have if they're going to look at a company?
Yeah, so that all really depends on the ASJ. So I can't say it should be this time frame to this time frame. I think that's actually a big misconception in the industry. If you go and you shop for installers, they say, "Hey, we can get this done in 45 days," and you live in Idaho, and they're talking about their time frames in Texas or their time frames in Florida. There's certain markets that don't require certain types of permits, right? And so that makes things go extremely fast from a permit standpoint. But they could have like a township that only comes together 3 or 4 times a year, right? And so a lot of that stuff can be very deceiving. I would say generally though, in my market, a CAD design should take no longer than about 72 hours, right? Permits, depending on the majority of the markets that we work in, should take no longer than 3 to 4 weeks. An install should only take no more than 2 days. And so ideally, with just a little bit of wiggle room, like install should be done within a matter of 60 days or so.
Okay.
But every single market is different, and so that's when I say number one, do your research and figure out. Do Coming into this industry, it's so important that you just be an expert from the sales side and from the operational side. I wouldn't allow any installer, any EPC to have full control over what's happening on the ops. I have to know as a solar expert what that should look like, so that I know that my customer is going to be able to have a great experience. Because once again, some of these installs don't even know, you know, they just don't. And so you just have to have that slight edge. I would get online and call these utility companies, and I will ask them what their interconnections process is supposed to be. I will ask, call some of these jurisdictions and ask them what the permits are supposed to be in your county or your state, so you can go out there and win.
Awesome. So, people like say there's installers out there and they are looking at, you said design work and stuff would take like 72 hours to come back.
Mhm.
Is that like stamps and all that stuff too?
No,
Engineering?
that's generally not. No, that's generally not with stamps. Yeah,
Oh,
that's generally not with stamps. With stamps, like maybe a week.
with stamps a week. Okay. And then what would that cost an installer usually, like ballpark range, to get all that stuff done?
Like everything.
Yeah, because this is something that you as an installer, you're paying up front to get this, even to get qualified to get installed, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if
I
people
mean,
know, like, you got
yeah,
money on the
yeah. Everything should be no more than about $1.90 for everything.
okay. So
Yeah.
that's what do you think it costs for just like the engineering packet, just for engineering itself, for doing the design work and the stamps and all that stuff after you
Yeah.
have it else done?
I've never done engineering a la carte like
Okay.
that, so I wouldn't be best to give that educated guess.
You guys have it done in-house then, or do you
Yeah.
subcontract it? It's all
Yeah.
in-house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So they're doing it all yourself. So that's good. So, yeah, thank you for answering that question. So you're thinking with all that, with all the new lenders and stuff that are coming out, do you have like a certain product that you lean more towards?
Um, Not necessarily. I think that really the best product, as from a lending perspective, just depends case by case for the client, you know, and what their situation is and what their goal is, right? There's some products that make a lot of sense whenever you have a client that has a lot of cash and you know they just want to be able to eliminate it as fast as possible. Other people, they don't have a lot of cash and they just want to be able to have the best payment, right? There's others that have high DTI, that there's certain products that just won't work for them and will work for them. So I would just do some research on all the product offerings that your installer makes available for you and really just ask questions with your client to figure out and be able to identify what's going to be best for them.
Right. I've heard that recently. I've done a few deals recently here in Florida too, and all the dealer fees are going up. That's across the board too? You're seeing that as well?
Oh yeah, they're insane right now. Yeah,
Right.
cash is king.
What do you think? Why is that happening? You have any idea?
I have my own theories. But I mean, if you just look at it from a 30,000 foot view, everything is going up, you know.
Right. It's
Uh,
inflation.
it's inflation, you know, it's inflation. Um, Shoot, over the summer, we're able to offer 0.99% interest rates. Now, I think the lowest one we can offer is like a 2.99. And
Right.
so everything is going up. But whenever I came into this industry, the only option I had was a 5.99 Mosaic 25 year. That was it. And so I don't really focus too much on that because it can really be crippling in the selling process. And so I focus more so on what solar can do for my client, other than what it's going to cost.
Right. That makes sense. So it's more of you're selling on long-term benefit for the homeowner, and you're painting that picture of
Oh,
all that.
100%. Yeah. I mean, in Ohio, I didn't see to this day, I haven't seen anybody save money day one with like 100% system. Never. Like it's always a $30 to $40 investment day one to go solar here.
So you're selling off of what your bill is going to look like in 25 years with 5% inflation continuously increasing.
That's right.
Gotcha. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
You gotta sell value. So, how big is your guys' team as of right now? I know you're a few years old now, right?
No, so the company that we just started was over the summer. So we have 40 reps
Okay.
right now. Yeah, yeah. The largest that I've led was about 350 reps though. Well, about 300 reps.
Okay, and that was with the last company you were with.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and that was all locally then.
No, that was covering the Midwest. Yep,
Okay,
now it's all locally though.
gotcha. So 40, and are they running appointments then, just like what you were doing?
Yeah, yep.
You guys are doing the online leads yourself. You guys are doing all your own marketing, or?
Yeah, now it's just a mixed bag. Now it's a matter of canvassing. There's also events as well that we do. Events are fantastic. It's a matter of building relationships with real estate agents, building relationships with pretty much anybody that deals with homeowners. And so I think really the best thing for marketing is to not have just a one trick pony, but to utilize multiple different facets of marketing so that your pipeline is never dry. Because if something happens with Facebook, if anything happens with Meta, and your entire business is built on, Meta ads, then the next day you're out of business, right? And so I would really focus in on, having multiple different ways of doing marketing.
Yeah, that's good. Really good advice. I'm kind of the same way as well. I mean, my background is all door to door, so I know at any time I can just go directly to a neighborhood,
Yeah.
directly to the doors and make it happen. But I haven't done a whole lot of closing with leads. What do you think helps people? Because I know a lot of people are moving to closing more appointments, and maybe they're running setter closer models. What are some things that you would recommend for these guys to learn? Any books that you'd recommend? Any like closing techniques that you follow or anything like that?
Yeah. I train something specifically whenever it comes to closing solar. It's very, very simple. And it is asking qualifying questions, setting the proper expectation, go through a high level presentation and overview, and simply ask for the business. Show them what the panels look like on the home. Really identify what that return on their investment is going to be and sell on the payment with a lot of people, right? And so that's how simple it really can be. I would say books. I know Michael O'Donnell's book is pretty good, no matter what. I like that book. Some older traditional books that really helped me in the beginning was The Way of the Wolf, Jordan Belfort, Straight Line Selling. And then also, I think the most impactful book in this industry for me has been How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. And that's strictly just communication. One more is Grant Cardone's Closing Survival Guide. That's a good one.
Okay, I appreciate you throwing those out. I'll probably look that up as well. I got some credits on my phone. I haven't read all those books that you're talking about. So
there you go. Yeah, man. Grant Cardone's Closing Survival Guide is the only thing I listened to for like the first 90 days of me being in the industry, because I knew how to really speak to people and articulate programs really well, but I didn't necessarily have the skill of just being relentless with closing down a deal. And so that helped me a ton. That helped me a ton.
Okay. Are you a Napoleon Hill fan at all? Think and Grow Rich?
I love Napoleon Hill. Do you know who Bob Proctor is?
Yep.
So Bob actually signed my Think and Grow Rich.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
What about Outwitting the Devil?
Outwitting the Devil is incredible. Yeah, it's an incredible book. I'm a fan of all of Napoleon Hill's work. The Master Keys to Riches was the first book I read by Napoleon Hill. But it's just a testament. What he's been able to share in his literature is true principles of faith, of consistency, of having, the desire to go out there and go win, and really just believing, and it's going to happen. So I love Napoleon Hill.
That's awesome. So like the secret and, all that stuff, kind of the abundance mindset, believe in all of that as well.
Oh, 100%. There was some time in 2017, I would go out and I would buy The Secret. And I had like maybe 30 copies at a time. And I would just give them to people as gifts, because I believe so much in that, the law of attraction. You attract not what you want, but you attract who you are. And so the key is to become, so that you can continue to attract in the things that it is that you want.
Right. Yeah. No, I got another book. I was trying to look at my phone real quick that I just downloaded yesterday, and it's really good. I think one of the guys that I listen to all the time, he was telling me to get it. It's As a Man Thinketh.
Oh yeah.
Poverty to Power by James Allen.
Yeah, James Allen. Absolutely. Yeah, I've read all those.
That's awesome. It's funny how a lot of the, guys that are in this industry, we kind of forced ourselves in a way to better ourselves in order to be able to go out and handle people, right? Because that's what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. We're always dealing with people, relationships, understanding how to win friends, influence people. That's definitely a key book for me as well. I wouldn't be able to go out and meet people in Boston when I first started. Never knocked a door in my life, and be able to really communicate unless I'd learned those things previously. I need to talk about people. Like the more you talk about them, the more they are interested in you as well, and you can really learn about them. That's how you become friends with people.
100%. I mean, what I've learned in this industry and in my career, all I've ever done is sales, which I'm very grateful for. I've never had to work any weird jobs, any, nasty jobs, thank God. But you got to really, really love people. If you want to win in sales, you have to have a heart for people. And sometimes that looks like saying, you know what? Solar's not the best thing for you, or you know what? Maybe my company isn't the best company for you. And really caring about other people, you know. That's how you have a long and you know, rewarding career, is by loving people, especially when we get into a leadership role and now you having to lead other people and you're having to take time to pour into other people. You have to take time for that one guy that went through training and he's supposed to go out there and hit the ground running. Yet this dude is trying to figure out how to still build proposals and he don't know how to use technology and just all the stuff. You got to be able to love people and take the time to invest, reinvest. I have so many people that have come across my path that if I didn't love them and I didn't really build into them, they would have left this industry with such a um, negative connotation. I've seen it happen time and time again. And at the root of it is just not loving your people. So you gotta love people, man.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. That's awesome. So, you right now you have about 40 guys, and you're looking to grow your company. What's the goal here? What's the short term and long term for you?
Yeah, by the end of the year, we'll have 100 guys that are doing about $10,000 a week. That's the goal. Once we hit that, everything else is going to work itself out. And so it's a gradual thing because you never want to have the pendulum swinging from sales to ops. And, you know, ops are great, but sales are down. And then sales are great and ops are down. You want to just be able to build, like I said earlier, together so that it's sustainable for long-term scale. And so we're putting together the processes and the procedures and the systems right now so that we can be able to be healthy when we got 100 reps that are doing 10K a week.
Okay, what kind of processes are you putting into place?
Yeah, so most importantly, processes for just a day-to-day, what to do every single day. A lot of people, they set like really, really big goals for the year and all that stuff is fantastic. I do the same thing. But you got to have some processes and procedures on what do I do the second that I wake up? What do I do when I get to this house, right? How should I present myself, right? What are some of the things that I should have on me so that I can go out there and have success? Whenever I do get into the house, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? What are these 5 things that I need to make sure I hit, right? When I sell a deal, what are the things that I need to make sure that I get? My guys do their own site audits, right? We don't need to depend on anybody to take pictures for us. So like all those little small things, you want to make sure that you have process, or you want to get to a place where you can have those processes in place so that you can go out and go scale.
Okay, what kind of tech are you guys using, or what would you recommend? What do you need to have in order to run a sales to operations?
From what perspective, like CRMs or like?
Yeah, like CRM, design tech. Like, are you guys using any sort of like Google Calendars, any sort of
Yeah,
tech that helps you?
yeah. We run our whole life off of Teams. Like I love Microsoft Teams. Of course, you got to have the CRM. There's tons of great CRMs out there. There's actually a lot of guys within the solar community that have been able to build out CRMs. And so I will utilize some of these Solo group chats and see what you like that's out there. Also design tools. We use Solo. I like Solo. Aurora, you know, both of those are great. I haven't checked out, what is it, Sonobi yet? It looks sick though. I need to check that out because I saw it at SolarCon last year. It looked like a freaking PlayStation 5 game. So, but yeah, all of that stuff is cool. If you're going out, Sales Rabbit is a great tool. Is a great tool as well. Rep Card is a great tool to utilize as well.
So for those that don't know, what does Sales Rabbit do?
Sales Rabbit really keeps together your entire business from like a door-to-door standpoint. It probably does a lot more than what I use it for, but I just keep track with the doors and the communities that I go into. You know, for those that bought something, those that don't ever want me to come back or they're calling the police, those that I need to follow up with. And so it's a great tool to just keep tabs on the communities that you're knocking.
Is it very expensive? I haven't actually looked into it.
No, it's not expensive at all.
Okay. And you were also saying Rep Card, and that's the like pretty much digital card that you have on your phone. Is that right?
Yeah. So just a digital card. Rep card is one, and then I have another one. What is it? One Tap Connect. One
One time.
Tap Connect. Yeah, so that's also another good one. Um, but yeah, rep card. I don't keep a physical business card just because I think that's old school. We're in renewable energy too, so like have a digital business card. The other cool thing about rep card and also One Tap Connect is like people can leave reviews of your work and what it is that you're able to do, and so I would definitely invest in that too.
Okay, so rep card, and then you guys are using, you said Solo for designs, and
Yeah,
that's you pay per proposal on that,
yeah,
and then you can sign it through there too. You upload your contracts to
yeah,
Solo.
yeah.
Okay. And then so what do you guys? I had a question on the engineering side. So oh no, what do you guys use for like sales training? Do you guys do any sort of like specific trainings? Do you guys just have people that are shadowing people on the doors, or how do you train your guys?
Good question. Yeah, so I do a lot of in-person training and virtual training myself. But coming on, we'll do a general overview of how solar works, education on the products, and then education on our sales process. And so, believe it or not, Glenn, I don't even train as much on selling as I do on your belief system because my experience has been whenever you have the belief system that you can go out there and win, selling becomes super easy. Sales reps that I've seen in the past have a way bigger belief issue than a sales issue. If you think about it, like we're always selling something, right? I mean, ever since you're a kid, you had the ability to sell your parents on stopping at McDonald's versus cooking at home, right? However, as you get older, your belief system is continued to be broken down by all the hardships in society, your experiences, and all these different things. And so then you come into this opportunity with a torn up belief system, and you expect to sell somebody a 50, 60, $70,000 system. It's not happening. And so we focus on the mind way more than sales. But from a sales process, we do that stuff as well. All of it is required, but I'll say 90 to 99% of your success is mental. Only 1 to 10% of your success is going to be physical. And so you got to really lock in on a 90 to 99%.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So when you're training these people to have a really good mindset, what type of trainings does go into that exactly, as far as like mindset training? You're training them onto, as far as like being positive about the actual product itself, so that you can't sell anything you're not sold on yourself, right?
Hmm. Yeah, great question. So a lot of the stuff that I train, I've invested over 6 figures into my own personal development. And so a lot of the stuff that I train are things that I've been able to learn over my journey, and that I've been able to really teach at like an elementary level. And so, like I said, on the mind, on your mentality, on how to get through obstacles, how to get through really, really difficult times. Like whenever you come into this industry and you left your job and you're already living paycheck to paycheck, and now your first paycheck is going to be, a month away, 2 months away. Like, how do you mentally get through that so that you continue to keep working and be excited and have the right attitude? Because something else that we found is that if you don't have the right attitude, you're not selling nothing either. So you can know about all the products, you can know about all the techniques, you can know about all the stuff, but if you got the wrong attitude, uh, uh, or a poor mindset in the house, it's just not happening. And so we teach on all that stuff. And then when it comes to the products, I utilize the companies and the manufacturers to come in and share like really specialized knowledge. So like on the Solar Edge, we'll reach out to Solar Edge and have them come and do a training for us. Or if it's like in phase, we'll have them come in as well because they are true experts on that. I'm not the true expert on that. And so we want to utilize specialized knowledge on that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. So when you have a rep that first comes in, do you guys have like a lot of this stuff pre-recorded in any way, or is it starting over from scratch every time for you?
It's pre-recorded, but we also do live stuff often, all the time. Nothing beats live. Nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
So weekly sales meetings and then like role playing and that sort of thing.
the whole thing. Yeah, all of it's required.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, good deal. So you guys are early on. You have you said you have 40 guys and you're looking to scale to 100 within the next by the end of this year, you said?
Yeah.
What are some things that you guys do to recruit? How do you do that?
Yeah. So recruiting is very, very interesting. So I've recruited personally a lot of people, and in the beginning, what I saw early on as success is recruiting people that already have the same mentality as you, already have the same drive as you, like people that are already around you. Some of the best reps that I've had in my organization was a friend of a rep or a family member of a rep. You can utilize other tools, LinkedIn, you can utilize Monster, you can utilize Instagram, social media, you can utilize Craigslist, like all those different tools. Those are all great to have ads posted and have people interviews come in. But I would rather have a friend of a rep that is a winner come in, right? Because what's it? Les Brown says like birds of a feather flock together, right? So I believe that. Um, and I would implement recruiting while you're out, being intentional as the person that's building your business. And whenever you have a great experience with, a car salesman, or you have a great experience when you upgraded your phone, or you have a good experience with a bartender, like, hey man, you're really good at what you do. Do you keep your career options open? What if I told you that with your current skill set, in the same amount of hours that you're already working, I can help you make a multiple six-figure income? Is that something you'd be open to? You know, and implementing that into your day-to-day lifestyle, you're going to have a way better quality candidate than you would by posting ads.
I agree. Yeah. Where did you learn that?
Man, I've only done sales, Glenn. So I've learned this stuff. I can't pinpoint where I've learned it. All I've done is just focusing on developing it over the years, and so it's hard to pinpoint.
That's funny because we got taught the exact same thing. I worked with Vivint Solar, and
Okay.
it's kind of just like a sales thing overall, recruiting door to door guys.
Yeah.
And I used to hang out with some of the recruiters, and we would go and recruit people like at the mall
Yeah.
and different things like that. And it was very similar to what you're saying, and it works. It definitely works.
It does work. It does work. And another part to that, though, is really focusing on building like genuine relationships with people and not just trying to recruit them. Because everybody's not going to be ready. Everyone's not going to believe that they can make six figures. I mean, we know what type of money solar is able to provide. It's changed my entire life, right? I'm very grateful. But for the common person that has only made 30 to 50K for the last, 5, 10 years of their life, it's hard for them to fathom that some dude can, meet them and they don't have to do, selling lotions and potions and teas to have this pipe dream. They can actually like just sell people energy and they can make all this money. It's hard to fathom that. And so what I found is that building a genuine relationship, like having that first interaction and then having another interaction outside of that space. Maybe it's getting coffee. I like to smoke cigars. We'll have a cigar, maybe go get lunch or something, and like get to know that person and get to know what they want to do and get to know their goals, and then provide them with what it is that you're doing and offering them the ability to hop on the boat. That is really the way to get it done.
Right. And that's obviously one of the ways that why you were in that position that you were in your last company too, is because of how good you're at recruiting, I'm sure. and your own personal experiences and what you sold. What are some numbers? I'll let you go ahead and brag a little bit on yourself. What's some numbers that you did as far as going in for a year or a month or a week or something that you're proud of?
Some numbers like income or like
No,
sales
just like
numbers?
numbers of closes, I would say, or maybe sets or something like that. Just accomplishments that you're proud of.
Yeah, personally, I didn't do many closes once I went into a leadership role. I would do more than like no more than like 10 to 15 a month. Like that was, about
That's
the
huge
average.
for a leader, though, because you're doing all the other stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. What I brag on is my guys. I brag on, the people that I've been able to work with that went from not having any sales experience at all to then being able to change their life and make, 330,000 to 300,000 the very next year, from working with me. Like I'm more proud of that than my own number. I don't care about that stuff. I care about like the Derek Sigmund that was 21 years old that was able to go into solar and work with me and change his life. Madison, the Madison Cox, she's 22. She was able to come in, work with me, made $40,000 her first month, right? My little sister, I got her fired from Discover on accident. And, she was able to come in with no sales experience and make like $21,000 her first month working with me. Ahmad Ben Gura, somebody else that I work with that was able to come from Sierra Leone. Dude has the heaviest African accent, right? Ends up being within the top 5 reps of Power Home, multiple years, President's Club winner. Like that's what I'm more proud of.
That's awesome. So you're a builder, you're a developer of leaders, which is a leader.
You got to be a developer of leaders, and the only way you can develop other leaders is if you're developing yourself. And so, word of advice for those that are just getting started is to never stop developing you. At the end of the day, make that investment into anything that's going on that's going to build your belief, build your leadership, build your sales ability, build your ability to build relationships, all those things. Go to SolarCon. SolarCon's coming up April, and my birthday is April 21st. I think it's April 20th. Go out there to Utah, get in the room, and every single event that you qualify for, make it to those events and build your business from event to event to event.
That's awesome. You said you spend a lot of money on personal development. What
Mhm.
are some events that you would recommend for people if they were looking at besides SolarCon?
Yeah, so John C. Maxwell, if you're a leader, you got to go to a John C. Maxwell event. They're very expensive, but you got to go. You just simply have to go. Grant Cardone has some fantastic events as well that's going to really be able to help you build your belief. 10X GrowthCon, I've done that. He has a ton of events. I also would take a look into, if you're building your mind, Tony Robbins, incredible events, life-changing events. Somebody that I personally have gone to a lot of events is a gentleman named David Emonitier. He has some fantastic events. Bob is now gone, but you can find virtual events as well. Bob Proctor, Paradigm Shift, fantastic event. What else? Yeah, those are like the main ones. Those are the main ones. Sales stuff, Jordan Belfort, I will go to anything that he has, 1000%. Alex Hermosi, he's really good too. And so, yeah, I would tap into all those people in their events.
Dude, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing
Yeah.
with. I'm gonna have to look into a couple of those as well. I'm planning to go to SolarCon. Are you going out there then?
Yeah, man, if you don't
Sure.
already have a ticket, 50%
Yeah.
off. Jackson, Jacksun.
Yep. They did the same sort of thing with me. They know that I
Sweet.
have a following as well. So
Fantastic.
heck yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. We've done about 50 minutes now. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Hopefully we can get you on in the future, and
Yeah,
we'll
man.
stay in touch, and we'll see you at SolarCon.
Awesome, brother. I'll see you there.
All right, buddy. Thanks. I appreciate your time.
You got it.